After spending her first year in New York working as a hat-check girl and failing to land acting jobs, Burnett, along with other girls living at the Rehearsal Club, a boarding house for women seriously pursuing an acting career, put on the Rehearsal Club Revue on March 3, 1955. They mailed invitations to agents, who showed up along with stars like Celeste, Holm and Marlene Dietrich, and this opened doors for several of the girls. Burnett was cast in a minor role on the Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney show in 1955. She played the girlfriend of a ventriloquist dummy on the popular children's program. This role led to her starring role opposite Buddy Hackett in the short-lived sitcom Stanley from 1956 to 1957. In the 1950s, a young Carol Burnett was working as an usherette when the theater was showing Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, 1951. Having already seen the film and loving it, she advised two patrons arriving during the last 10 minutes of a showing to wait until the beginning of the next showing to avoid spoiling the ending for them. The manager observed Burnett, let the couple in, then callously fired her, stripping the epaulettes from her uniform. Years later in the 1970s, after achieving TV stardom, when the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce offered her a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they asked her where she wanted it. She replied right in front of where the old Warner Brothers Theater was, at Hollywood and Wilcox, which is where it was placed, at 6439 Hollywood Boulevard. After Stanley, Burnett found herself unemployed for a short time. She eventually bounced back a few months later as a highly popular performer on the New York circuit of cabarets and nightclubs, most notably for a hit parody number called I Made a Fool of Myself over John Foster Dulles. Dulles was Secretary of State at the time. In 1957, Burnett performed this number on both The Tonight Show, hosted by Jack Paar, and The Ed Sullivan Show. Dulles was asked about Carol Burnett on Meet the Press and joked, "I never discuss matters of the heart in public." Burnett also worked as a regular on one of television's earliest game shows, Pantomime Quiz, during this time. In 1957, just as Burnett was achieving her first small successes, her mother died. Burnett's first true taste of success came with her appearance on Broadway in the 1959 musical Once Upon a Mattress, for which she was nominated for a Tony Award. The same year, she became a regular player on The Gary Moore Show, a job that lasted until 1962. She won an Emmy Award that year for her outstanding performance in a variety or musical program or series on the show. Burnett portrayed a number of characters, most memorably the put-upon cleaning woman who would later become her signature alter ego. With her success on The Moore Show, Burnett finally rose to headliner status and appeared in the special Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall, 1962, co-starring with her friend Julie Andrews. The show was produced by Bob Banner, directed by Joe Hamilton, and written by Mike Nichols and Ken Welch. One Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Program Achievement in the Field of Music, and Burnett won an Emmy for her performance. Citation needed. Burnett also guest starred on a number of shows during this time, including The Twilight. In 1964, Burnett starred in the Broadway musical Fade Out, Fade In, but was forced to withdraw after sustaining a neck injury in a taxi accident. She returned to the show later but withdrew again to participate in a variety show, The Entertainers, opposite Katerina Valenti and Bob Newhart. The producers of Fade Out, Fade In sued the actress for breach of contract after her absences from the popular show caused its failure, but the suit was later dropped. The Entertainers ran for only one season. Around the same time, Burnett became good friends with Jim Nabors, who was enjoying great success with his series Gomer Pyle, USMC. As a result of their close friendship, Burnett played a recurring role on Nabors' show as a tough corporal, later gunnery sergeant. Nabors would later be her first guest every season on her variety show. In 1966, Lucille Ball became a friend and mentor to Burnett. After having guested on Burnett's highly successful CBS TV special Carol Plus 2 and having the younger performer reciprocate by appearing on The Lucy Show, Ball reportedly offered Burnett her own sitcom called Here's Agnes, to be produced by Dessler Productions. Burnett declined the offer, not wanting to commit herself to a weekly series. The two remained close friends until Ball's death in 1989. Ball sent flowers every year on Burnett's birthday. When Burnett awoke on the day of her 56th birthday in 1989, she discovered via the morning news that Lucille Ball had died. Later that afternoon, flowers arrived at Burnett's house with a note reading, "Happy birthday, kid. Love, Lucy." In 1967, CBS offered to put Burnett in a weekly comedy series called Here's Agnes. However, Burnett had a stipulation in her 10-year contract with CBS that said she had 5 years from the date the Gary Moore Show ended to push the button on hosting 31-hour episodes of a music, comedy variety show. As a result, the hour-long Carol Burnett Show was born and debuted in September 1967, garnering 23 Emmy Awards and winning or being nominated for multiple Emmy and Golden Globe Awards every season it was on the air. Its ensemble cast included Tim Conway, who was a guest player until the 9th season, 20, Harvey Korman, Lyle Waggoner, and the teenaged Vicki Lawrence, whom Burnett herself discovered and mentored. The network initially did not want her to do a variety show because they believed only men could be successful at variety, but Burnett's contract required that they give her one season of whatever kind of show she wanted to make. She chose to carry on the tradition of past variety show successes. A true variety show, The Carol Burnett Show struck a chord with viewers. Among other things, it parodied films, went with the wind for Gone with the Wind, television, As the Stomach Turns for the soap opera As the World Turns, and commercials. Musical numbers were also a frequent feature. Burnett and her team struck gold with the original sketch The Family, which eventually was spun off into its own television show called Mama's Family, starring Vicki Lawrence. Burnett opened most shows with an impromptu question-and-answer session with the audience, lasting a few minutes, during which she often demonstrated her ability to humorously ad-lib. On numerous occasions, she obliged when asked to perform her trademark Tarzan yell. Burnett ended each show by tugging on her left ear, which was a message to her grandmother who raised her. This was done to let her know that she was doing well and that she loved her. During the show's run, Burnett's grandmother died. On an intimate portrait episode on Burnett, she tearfully recalled her grandmother's last moments. She said to my husband Joe from her hospital bed, "Joe, you see that spider up there? There was no spider, but Joe said he did anyhow." She said every few minutes a big spider jumps on that little spider and they go at it like rabbits. And then she died. There's laughter in everything. Burnett continued the tradition of tugging her ear. The Carol Burnett Show ceased production in 1978. 4 postscript episodes were produced and aired on ABC during the summer of 1979 under the title, Carol Burnett and Company, basically using the same format and, with the exception of Harvey Korman and Lyle Waggoner, the same supporting cast. Beginning in 1977, the comedy sketches of Burnett's series were edited into half-hour episodes entitled Carol Burnett and Friends, which, for many years, proved to be extremely popular in syndication. In January 2015, Carol Burnett and Friends began airing on MeTV. Burnett starred in a few films while her variety show was running, including Pete and Tilly, 1972. She was nominated for an Emmy in 1974 for her role in the drama 6RMS Revue. After her show ended, Burnett assumed a number of roles that departed from comedy. She appeared in several dramatic roles, most notably in the television movie Friendly Fire. She appeared as Beatrice O'Reilly in the film Life of the Party, The Story of Beatrice, a story about a woman fighting her alcoholism. Her other film work includes The Four Seasons, 1981, Annie, 1982, and Noises Off, 1992. She also returned in 2005 to star in a different role as Queen Agravain in the movie version of Once Upon a Mattress. She guest starred in Season 2 of Desperate Housewives as Bree's stepmother, Elaine Mason. Burnett was the first celebrity to appear on the children's series Sesame Street, on that series' first episode on November 10, 1969. 24, she also made occasional returns to the stage in the 1970s and 1980s. In 1974, she appeared at the Mahoney Theater in St. Louis, Missouri, in I Do, with Rock Hudson, and 11 years later, she took the supporting role of Carlotta Campion in the 1985 concert performance of Stephen Sondheim's Follies. Burnett made frequent appearances as a panelist on the game show Password, an association she maintained until the early 1980s. In fact, Mark Goodson awarded her his Silver Password All-Stars Award for Best Celebrity Player. She's also credited with coming up with the title Password Plus, when it was originally planned to be titled Password 79. In the 1980s and 1990s, Burnett made several attempts at starting a new variety program. She also appeared briefly on the Carol Burnett Show's The Family Sketches spin-off, Mama's Family, as her stormy character, Eunice Higgins. She played the matriarch in the cult comedy miniseries Fresno, which parodied the primetime soap opera Falcon Crest. She returned to TV in the mid-1990s as a supporting character on the sitcom Mad About You, playing Teresa Stemple, the mother of main character Jamie Buckman, Helen Hunt, for which she won another Emmy Award. In 1995, After an absence of 30 years, she was back on Broadway in Moon Over Buffalo, for which she was nominated for a Tony Award. 4 years later, she appeared in the Broadway revue Putting It Together. Burnett has long been a fan of the soap opera All My Children. She realized a dream when Agnes Nixon created the role of Verla Grubbs for her in 1976. Burnett played the long-lost daughter of Langley Wallingford, Louis Edmonds, causing trouble for her stepmother Phoebe Tyler Wallingford, Ruth Warwick. She made occasional appearances on the soap opera in each decade thereafter. She hosted a 25th anniversary special about the show in 1995 and made a brief cameo appearance as Verla Grubbs on the January 5, 2005, episode which celebrated the show's 35th anniversary. Burnett reprised her role as Grubbs in September 2011 as part of the series finale. In 2008, Burnett had her second role as an animated character in the film Horton Hears a Who. Her first was in The Trumpet of the Swan in 2001. In 2009, she made a guest appearance on the Law and Order Special Victims Unit, for which she was nominated for the Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series. In November 2010, she guest-starred on an episode of Glee as the mother of cheerleading coach Sue Sylvester. In 2012 she had another voice role in The Secret World of Rarity. She has made a recurring role, traditionally on Thanksgiving-themed episodes, of Hawaii Five-0 as Steve Garrett's Aunt Debbie since 2013, until Aunt Deb died from cancer in the January 15, 2016 episode.